Hey guys, I wanted to talk to you real quick about a special type of factoring, and it's when both of your terms are perfect squares and there's a minus sign between them. So all of these on the screen, I'm looking for my pen. All of these on the screen are examples of difference of squares. So for example, look at number one, a squared is a perfect square and 49 is a perfect square. So to factor these, it's always the same type of pattern. You find the square root of a squared, which is a and a. You find the square root of 49, which is 7, and then 1 always gets a plus and 1 always gets a minus. And the reason this type of pattern will always go with the difference of squares is because when you FOIL it, a times a is a squared, a times 7, or excuse me, a times negative 7 is negative 7a, and a times positive 7 is positive 7a, and 7 times negative 7 is negative 49. And what will always happen is these two terms will cancel each other out. So you end up with a squared minus 49. So if you have two terms and they're both perfect squares, that means, oh, excuse me, and the very important thing is there's a minus sign between them. You can quickly factor these into a pattern like this top one. So you find the square root of p squared, which is p. You find the square root of 144, which is 12. And then because there's a difference symbol right there, one gets a plus and one gets a minus every single time. Ooh, that's a minus, okay? So how would I factor this one? Square root of 9 is 3 and 3. One gets a plus, one gets a minus. That is how you factor it. Now, if you notice on all of these examples, none of them have a plus symbol between them. Because if you have two squares like this, and you put a plus symbol between them, this is actually not factorable. Because when there's a plus sign between them and you try to factor it, the two middle terms will never cancel each other out. Okay, so for example, square root of a squared is a, square root of 100 is 10. So if I give one, in order to get a positive 100, positive 100, both of these 10s either have to be positive or they both have to be negative. So when they're both positive, you get a squared plus 10a plus 10a plus 100. So do you see that those two middle terms do not cancel themselves out? This is what you get when you have a squared plus 100, okay? Or if you make them both minus, a minus 10 and a minus 10, a squared, and then we'd have negative 10a minus 10a, which is actually negative 20. So if there's a middle term, if you either have, if you are going to square a minus 10, like we did here, or if we're going to square a plus 10, like we did here, both of those FOILed is going to give you a middle term. Okay, so if you're given a problem like this and it asks you to factor it, it's not factorable. It's only when both terms are perfect squares and there's a minus sign between them. All right, so I want you guys to pause this video. I want you to solve the rest of these problems and then come back and check your answer. So we did 1, 3, and 5. You guys, you do the rest, please. All right, so number 7, square root of k squared is k. Square root of 121 is 11. So we get plus minus. We get that right there. Number 9, when we factor it, we get, what is that? 16, I think it is. They'll tell me if I'm wrong. One's a plus, one's a minus, doesn't matter what order. All right, what's the square root of 4x squared? It'd be 2x and 2x, and then we have 5 and 5. One's a plus, one's a minus. All right, this one is a plus 8 and a minus 8. This one is b plus 5 and b minus 5. This one is x plus 2 and x minus 2. This one is k plus 6 and k minus 6. This one is n plus 13 and n minus 13. And this one is 4b plus 1, because 1's a perfect square, right? And 4b minus 1. I hope you got them all right. So what if you have to factor 4a squared plus 36? What's the answer? Not factorable. You have the square, you would think, what's the square root of these two perfect squares? But you couldn't get this because if either you use two pluses or two minuses, you would have a middle term. Okay, so it's only when they're both perfect squares and there's a minus in between. So you're going to have some of these on your sheet today, so I hope that comes back to your memory. If you have a binomial, you have to factor it, and if it's the difference of squares, that's how you do it. All right, let me know if I can help you with anything, and I will talk to you guys later. Have a great day.